So the things you're gonna need for this is a template, and I will show you how to make that. You will need 2 different fabrics or 2 of the same, however you choose. I like to do an outside and an inside print. You will need 2 pieces of elastic at 11 inches. You will need a safety pin. You will either need scissors, a rotary blade, or just plain scissors, something to mark your fabric with and to make your template with. You will need a ruler, and I believe that's it. Oh, and a sewing machine. So let's get started. So to make the template, you need to have a piece of paper. You can use cardstock, computer paper, whatever you have. You need it to be 10 inches long and 7.5 inches wide for an adult pattern. So I'm just using my self-healing cutting mat to make it easier. I'm going to take it down to 10 inches. And then I'm going to slide it over 1 so I can see better for my 7.5. Okay, so now you have 10 by 7.5. Then you need to take and mark 2-inch marks on each corner. So you can use your mat, 2 inches, 2 inches. Now, if you're using your mat, make sure to remember you're at 7.5. If you want to make it easy, go up to a hold point. Go down 2 and over 2. Okay, so now you're going to want to make a line here and cut off these corners. Okay. So now you're going to be using this to cut 2 pieces of fabric, an outside and an inside piece. You can use the same print if you choose, but if you do, you could maybe get confused when you put it on and put the outside part onto your face. So I usually like to use 2 contrasting fabrics. When we come over to the sewing machine, the first part that you're going to sew is here, here, and here, 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 and here. You're going to leave these ends open. So I'm going to show you that first, but if you, when you're making your pattern, just so you don't get confused, it's sometimes easy just to do this to remind yourself which part you're sewing first. Okay, so this is going to be my inside print. And then we're going to be using Marie Kitty for our outside print. Now, if you are making multiples, you can always too fold your fabric over on itself and cut more than one at once, which is usually what I'm doing when I'm making bulk, because then you can just have a few. So at this point you have your fabrics cut. You're going to face them like sides together, and like I told you, you're going to be sewing along these edges, stopping here. You're going to back stitch both parts. Then you're also going to come down here, come here, 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 stop, back stitching both parts. Then we're going to flip it. So let's go over to the sewing machine. So now we're going to take it back over to the ironing board. I'll just roll mine over to me. And you're going to flip this inside out. Now before you do that, and this is a perfect example of why you need to look, sometimes our fabrics don't stay jived together. I do not pin stuff, so I missed this part here. So I'm going to go back over now and just make sure that I grab both parts of the fabric together. And I mean, if you sew, you know we all make boo-boos sometimes, so it's no big deal. You're now going to flip it here, and you're going to see that it's got two little corners up at the top that you're going to want to pop out, and here you go. So now once we've turned it, we need to press it down. So you're just going to pop out those corners to the best of your ability, and then press it. Now at this point, I like to flip it over and see. You see you've got some fray here. It makes it a little easier if you snip the fray now, because you are going to be zigzagging over this open space. And by doing it now, it's just going to be cleaner when we get it off the machine. So this is not necessary, but this is just a me preference. So here we see. So now we're gonna take it over to the machine, and we're going to top stitch all the way around here. When we get to this point, we're going to zigzag this closed. Then we're going to top stitch again and zigzag close. Now I have a Janome Skyline S7, and that machine allows me to switch seamlessly between a zigzag and a straight stitch. So I don't stop and start, I just keep going. But if your machine doesn't allow you to do that and you maybe need to change feet, then you're going to just straight stitch both parts, and then you're gonna zigzag the ends closed. So however you're comfortable doing that, that's gonna be the next step. Over at the ironing board, we're gonna flip it where the front is facing down. So I'm looking at the inside of the mask. Now, you may have watched YouTube videos where they're going to tell you you need to measure up 2 inches. But remember, this was a 2-inch cut. So if you just pin this up and iron it, you're at 2 inches. Saves you a step. So we wanna press this here, toward, press this down, toward here, and then you're going to have this cute little like burrito thing, an open-ended burrito. We're going to run a top stitch right down the edge on both sides. And then when we're done there, we're going to flip this up to make a channel for our elastic. It's going to be like a finger width. I'll tell you an exact measurement of like what we're looking for. Like a 1/2 inch. You could just use your finger. If your finger fits, the elastic will fit through. So first we have to do this long stitch. Then you're just going to turn these up and do a little stitch across here, across your zigzag. And then we're going to press it again. You do not have to press these if you don't want to. If you want to sit and press them and pin them, that is totally your choice. I do not do that. Now this is going to be the last press and the last stitching part you will do to this mask. You want to cut all your threads to make it clean. You're going to open up these little pieces. You're going to bring the ends together, and you're going to set it down and fold it in half. Now these little parts are kind of tucked. You want to pull these out at the end as far as they will come out, but kind of keep them together because this is going to be the part that covers your nose and your mouth, or your nose and your chin, I should say, on your face. So you want it to be even. Here, I like to just hit this with a little bit of heat just to kind of keep the form. And then we are going to, now that you can see, this is what it's going to look like. So here, you're going to want to just take a little tack stitch, a couple of stitches back and forth, and I try to keep it on the seam the best I can, just so you don't really see it. So you're going to do that on all 4 corners. Completed all of the sewing. You're going to want to trim your threads on the inside where we just did the tack stitch, and on the outside. And this is your mask. Now the fun part, the elastic. So I did tell you before, this is 2 pieces at 11 inches long. The way I have found it easiest to thread it in is to take a safety pin, and then you're going to just feed it in. And sometimes you find it the first time, and sometimes you gotta back out and the beauty about this style mask is you're not married to this elastic forever. It is not sewn into the mask. So if you want to work with a skinnier elastic, or if it's not the right size, or say when you wash it, it gets damaged in the washing machine, you can always snip it and put new elastic in. I just knot it off and I try to keep it as close to the ends as possible. I try to cut the tails off, and then you just twist it within the loop and you have your elastic. Now, if the 11 inches is kind of an average size for men and women, some women, if they're a little petiter, they might need it a little bit shorter. And the nice thing about it is once this elastic is already done, if you need to make it a little shorter, you can always just tie a knot and tighten this down if you choose. So that is an option if you choose to, and then you can just slide it in. And that is a 3D mask. This really stays nice and comfortable off the face. It covers nicely, glasses fit over it really well. It fits the chin really nice. It's a great design. So thank you so much for watching our video. If you liked our video, please hit the like button. If you have any questions about the mask, please comment below. I'd love to help you. And if there's any other videos that you would be interested in, please leave it in the comments below because I'd love to make content that you guys are interested in. Thanks for watching.